Mduduzi Shabalala, Samkelo Zwane, Nkosi Ngiphile Ngcobo. These are all the exciting players that we have developed so far. These are the players for the future. These are the players who are part of the project. These are the players in the future we hope they can actually help us to be able to bring back the glory days of Amakos, Abafana, Batine, the Pefeni boys of Amakosi. Hello, once again, welcome to another exciting episode. Welcome back to the podcast, and thank you so much for those who keep on supporting the channel each and every week. Please don't stop, continue to do so. Every week, we're going to be talking about everything about these exciting teams, all the big teams in the DSTV Premiership. This is your host, Walter, once again. Look, there's a lot of things to talk about today, but what I wanted to look at today it's how things have shaped up from the past season. We won't look back too much because obviously now we want to be able to look at the players that we have currently at the moment. What's going on? Because there seems to be similarities in a sense where we keep on developing, but the kids that we have, are they the right kind of quality that we are developing? Are we developing for the sake of developing young players? Because obviously maybe there's a quota that we have to reach. Maybe there's pressure regardless because we haven't actually won trophies in almost 10 seasons or even almost 9 seasons now. What's going on there? Because there's a lot of things that I think it needs to be fixed. And if they don't get changed, we have to look at the fact that is it our scouting department? Is it really the coach, or is management not getting it right? So for my side, I want to look at the past seasons that have gone by, and just look at the kind of players that we've developed so far. So you can understand the kind of difference or different stages of the players that we've developed and what we have seen so far with these players that we've developed. So first of all, I want to go back. Engaqala ngayo Siyabonga Ngezana, Sabelo Khatebe, Nkosi Ngiphile Ngcobo, Mduduzi Shabalala, Happy Bashiane. Sorry, guys, I've got my notes here. Samkelo Zwane. Who am I missing? Yes. So these are the kind of players that we have developed, and we've given them senior contracts. Now, for me, there's one player I just want to talk about very quickly. Then we'll move on to the main topic. Look, there's a common denominator here, which is Watazwane, aka Mangete, where whether he was a senior coach, a development coach at the time, he was part of the setup. He had a hand. He's known these players ever since they were young, ever before they even made it to the senior team, through and through. Yeah? Oh yes, I forgot Unjabule Plum. Sorry. Now, why I want to be able to specifically look to him is because obviously his placement is important for our conversation. Now, fine gone, Ungezana, for example, I couldn't exactly call him a young player anymore. We can't. He's 23, I believe, going to 24 next year. But as you can see his seniority, he has been part of a team where fine gone, we had once upon a time Abu Tifo Mashamaite. He was part of Abu Eric Mator in their prime. He was part of Abu Kakra and Tepo Masilela. When we had the players, he was an upcoming player at the time. So I can't really say he's a young player anymore. But what we have seen is that the quality he has probably lacked in the past seasons, under different coaches, mind you. But he has always found favor somehow in regards to him being a second or a backup defender, getting games here and there, being part of a squad, even when we were going to, when we didn't have a choice, really, when we went to all the way to the CAF. But he is part of the setup in some shape or form. So for me, I'm only mentioning this because you can tell that, look, not all the players that we are going to develop are going to be the quality that we think they are. And maybe that's where the mistake comes in. Sometimes it's fine to develop a player like Abozito Konika and let them go gain experience elsewhere. I don't think all the players that we develop should be part of the squad that we are trying to rebuild, so we can be able to have the same Kaizer Chiefs that is able to compete or challenge honors moving forward. But specifically, also, we have to look at the fact that is coaching the problem when we see such situations where there's a glimpse a bit of magic in some games, and there's a consistency lacking somehow. Now, Blom, obviously, he didn't get enough time. We didn't see him, but at the very least, we saw these young players shine at some point when we went all the way to CAF. We're doing bad in the domestic season, but what we can agree on in CAF when we under the transfer ban, the difference was, for me, they were surrounded by senior players. Whether they were quality or average, but the fact that you could see was a situation where they're surrounded by senior players in a sense that they didn't have that much pressure, in a sense where they have to give us something. It's just that they were our only hope. Happy Mashiane came out of nowhere. There was no pressure. He was playing the best football of his life. So those are the kind of things you have to also look into, in the fact that when you remove players, I don't think when you introduce young players, they have to have the same kind of pressure as Abum Tutuzi and Osamkelezwan. So you can tell that Unjabulo Plum and Nkosing Epile Ngobo, they came in at the right time. And you could see their maturity, because even if they were used as, in their position coming off second half, given a chance here and there, that bit of magic was able to mold, and development Tiabo wasn't rushed as the others. So that's where maybe probably coaching comes into play, where we can allow these players to be able to develop in their own time, as opposed to being rushed to actually be the right player in a specific time. Now, Kosting we saw that given enough games, he has the right quality that we need. For me, I don't think in the season past he gave us enough to really seemingly as low confidence, because now he's been given the jersey, or he's been shown as the light way. Either he has enough quality to even go to a Europe. He can replace players like Abu Muke. He can replace Dr. Kumalu 16V. So, there's that kind of belief that we have on him. On his shoulders, the badge is sitting on him. And now, all of a sudden, he's injury prone. There's a bit of inconsistency. Sometimes he disappears. Sometimes you don't even see. There's a lack of energy to a certain extent, lack of creativity in the last couple of games that he was playing in the earlier parts of the season. So that's when you kind of start to see that, okay, maybe these players are right. Maybe there's certain things behind the scenes that we don't know. Because we don't want the same situation in the past. Players that shows promise, but in the long run, they just fade away or disappear. And now, as far as we don't even know what to do with them anymore. Now, look at the fact, look at it this way as well. So, a rebuilding phase, I could call it, which is the project, maybe project one or phase one of the project of rebuilding, where now I don't feel it was right for Usam Kelozwane, Nomtutuzi Shabalala, to be introduced in the setup that they were in. Now, this time around, these ones come in, they were given senior contracts in a position where the age gap is not much of a difference with the players that they're playing with. Now, we've seen that, okay, the idea, all right, you're bringing young players, meaning you're looking to the future. Hence, I say rebuilding. So now, with this project, the problem is age gap is not that far. Quality now is not that much different, and experience as well. The only thing that they can rely on, even if at the same time now, you bring in new players who still need to adjust to the culture of the club and whatever philosophy they're trying to instill. So as you can see, to be fair, these young players were not, the environment was not conducive, or they didn't create a conducive environment for these players to thrive, for them to take their time. Because if you can remember, these two come from Itiski challenge, where Gurzev League, you could tell they were more relaxed, there was more freedom. And Usam Kelozama, for example, he was used as a DM. When it comes to the senior team, he's used as a central midfielder, as a number 8, as a number 6. So now when you're adjusting too much, the adjustment can't be as quick as we wanted to, because when we are there, we are expected to give results. Tutuzu Shabalala is the same way. One point is used as a winger, the other time is used as a 10. Yes, we can say that injuries maybe could have contributed, but what I'm trying to show you is the project now needs to actually make sense to a certain point, where there is some sort of consistency, but at the same time, don't exploit these young players. Because now Mtutusi Shabalala, all of a sudden, he was our beam of hope. Bekufanele kube yiyo le ntwana lena that bails us out in important games, that actually helps the team to win a cup or two or challenge for the premiership. So those kind of things, it can only tell you enough that looking at things, it's a dangerous point or it's a dangerous time when you have to think about how these players are being introduced. How do you transition them? Is there a plan to transition these players so that we can be able to understand how they can use them? How best can they use them so that we can actually see the potential or the glimpses of magic that we've seen in the past or where they were playing before? So, number one, Duba that we haven't even talked about. But so all these things I'm mentioning, they're part of a foundation that you have to build. And this foundation has to benefit these players who are playing for the club. So these are the kind of things that obviously moving to the next season, obviously these players, Usam Kelezwane specifically, Nkosini Pile Ngobo, Nomtutusi Shabalala, we definitely are sure they are going to be part of the plan. The problem is, Umangete now has been given the green light. He's still the coach. I feel, in my opinion, if this project should fulfill the targets or even the ambitions they want to reach, I think one of the key things is they have to add a bit of knowledgeable coaches in the technical staff. I think either he must be demoted to either going back to assistant coach, gain enough experience, or give him an assistant coach so they can understand well the culture and what is needed for these players to consistently show us the kind of ability and the quality that they possess. But now those are the kind of challenges that they are facing now. The question is, do they have enough knowledge, experience for them to be able to instill these kind of ideas that we are trying to see from them? Because on the pitch, remember, Tina, we are judging you by results because that's a byproduct of what you are doing behind the scenes, things that we are not privy to. How are you helping these players? What kind of relationships are you building for them? What kind of ideas are you showing them? What's the knowledge or the football knowledge you're giving to these guys, especially when they are there in their senior team and they have to produce results? One of the other things, Engibona, is, for example, Nkosini now being injury prone, we don't know what's going on. Psychologically, is he ready for the next season? So now what we want to see, or what we are going to see, is phase number 2 of the project of the rebuild, where now we are going to see who are they going to sign, because already, remember, there has been signings that have been confirmed, which for me is a good sign of certain things happening, but I don't think still it's going to be enough for them to say they can challenge the Santos for the premiership. At the very least, we can at least see some sort of identity, consistency, and them applying themselves well, consistently, and playing as a team. At least seeing the attack, having chemistry, body language showing us, it's okay, sharp. Maybe this is a Kaizer Chiefs we're proud to see, oh, this is worth people's money going to the stadiums. But already, they will tell us a new story, probably in telling us we need to give them more time and patience and all that. For me, one thing I'll leave you with, I don't think here, the standard of football sometimes, it's very funny when we have to call a 21-year-old a young player, whereas in Europe, Abu Kamavinga, you have Rodrigo, these kind of players who are actually called senior players who play in big matches, but they are the same age. Hence, I'm saying, for me, they have to look into their development. How are they developing their players and how are they getting them ready for the senior team? A good example locally that we can see, what they are doing right is Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch right now use majority of their players or is young players, and they know how to mix well with the senior players. And it starts with the coach. So for me, I'm not saying the coach Atazwan he's the only problem there, but I'm just saying that they have to look into these kind of things because these ideas hopefully can help them in regards to how they're going to apply themselves in the next season. So that's all I have for you guys in regards to this kind of topic on these ideas. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment in the comment below, on the section below. Tell me what you think. Remember, this is this game it's a game of opinions. So Mina, this is what I have for you. Check on the next episode in the next week. Let's see what we have. Thank you, Yabo.